Welcome back to Auburn Ed Talks, the official podcast of Auburn University's College of Education. Recorded in the Pratt Family Media Production Room in the College of Education building, this podcast spotlights the people, ideas, and innovations shaping the future of education and beyond. As another fall semester begins, thousands of Auburn students are preparing for new classes, new opportunities, and new goals. Whether you're a first-year student walking into your first college class or a senior preparing for graduation, one of the best resources you have is your academic advisor. Today, we're joined by two outstanding leaders from the College of Education's Academic Advising Office who help guide students every day toward success. They're here to share practical advice, common mistakes to avoid, and tips for making the most of the semester ahead. So let's get to talking.
Hello everyone, I am Brooke Fligel, a student ambassador here in Auburn University's College of Education, and I'm excited to host today's conversation. Joining me are two people who have helped countless College of Education students navigate their academic journey. Ashley Sullivan serves as Director of Academic Advising for many of the college's academic programs, and Robin Martin oversees advising for our kinesiology students. All right, Ashley and Robin, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, so before we jump into today's conversation, I'd love for our listeners to get to know both of you a little bit better. So Ashley, let's start with you. Tell us about your role here in the College of Education and what a typical day looks like.
That is a really good question. I feel like as being Director of Academic Advising, I essentially oversee anything dealing with students. Anything at all in any kind of capacity, mostly, of course, academic related. But as academic advisors, we work hard to ensure that students just understand their own individual plan, making sure they take ownership of that plan, they advocate for that plan, they know how to communicate. I feel my philosophy, I guess, for advising is teaching. And so I think that's really important for students to understand is this is your pathway, not my journey, but your journey. But essentially, we want them to understand what degree they're getting, how they're going to get to that degree. It includes curriculum pathways, understanding the bulletin, resources available, program rules for teacher ed majors, understanding the State Department rules for our teacher ed majors, and certification routes, and basically, again, just taking that ownership.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've loved getting to work in the office with y'all, but there's a lot more that goes into advising than you would think. So that's great. All right, Robin, your advising focus is kinesiology, one of our college's fastest growing programs. Tell us a little bit about your role and the students that you work with.
Yeah, so in kinesiology, we have a team of advisors that work very closely together. Working with our students, we have two undergraduate majors, exercise science and exercise performance and health optimization. Exercise science covers our pre-health majors. So all of those students are preparing to apply to some kind of graduate professional program in the health field typically. Majority of those are physical therapy, and we have a new physical therapy program within kinesiology. Some of those are looking at more medical school, DO, MD, chiropractic, physical PA, those kinds of programs. So they're able to kind of take that major and tailor it toward whatever program they're preparing for. And then our other major is more applied sports science. So it's students working toward personal training, strength conditioning, coaching, anything under that health, wellness, fitness umbrella.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so you both work with students every single day, right? So what do each of you enjoy most about serving as academic advisors?
I would say probably the aha moment. Again, I mentioned my teaching philosophy earlier, my advising philosophy, advising teaching, teaching's advising. So I would say that aha moment, when you've been working with a student and they all of a sudden are like, oh, I get it. Or I understand how the pieces of the puzzle meet together. It's like, I promise I'm asking you to do something for your own good.
Yes.
So I would say that would be probably mine.
Yeah, I think for me, it's kind of same thing, the aha moment, but kind of having that front seat to their launch, students coming from all different backgrounds and means, and being able to come in and take advantage of the opportunities that are afforded to them here at Auburn, and just seeing that maturity develop and
Yeah.
being able to kind of take ownership within their own education and their path. And sometimes they know exactly what it is they want to do, and sometimes it's a little bit more of a zigzag to get to that path. So it's really rewarding to kind of just be here and be on that front row to see that happen for students.
I'm sure that's awesome. Okay, so going off of that, as the fall semester gets underway, there's a mix of excitement, maybe a little anxiety for students. So whether someone is brand new to Auburn or returning for another semester, what's your biggest piece of advice for getting off to a strong start?
I would say starting off first, and Rob and I were actually talking about this before the podcast, getting to know your faculty, getting to know your instructors. I know that is sometimes very difficult, and there have been great tools and resources out there for students of how to do that, how to go about that. But your faculty instructors, they want you to succeed. They want you to do well. And so I think it's just very important to start off the floor, off the ground, having that positive relationship. I also always joke with students, but they may write a recommendation letter for you one day, you know, they may be the ones who help you get a job or, whatever it may be. But again, having that mentorship guide. I would also say read your syllabus or your syllabi, treat it like a contract, I guess you can say. Understand it, ask questions if you don't understand it, and have a calendar. That is something in my UNIV class that I teach. That's something we do day one with first semester freshmen is, hey, if you don't have a calendar, I'll get you one. We'll print out copies, use your phone, electronic, whatever. But go ahead and spend an hour or two, write everything in it, like social activities to quizzes, tests, everything. That would probably be my start advice.
Definitely get that planner and first day, first week of classes, go through that syllabus, fill everything in the plan. Plan for if you're in online classes, make sure you're planning for the times to focus on those, and really kind of pour through that syllabus and make sure you understand all the ins and outs of that. The conversation that I have with students when they're coming in through Camp War Eagle, I kind of put my mom hat on, they're never going to have this level of resources and opportunities available to them. And we really encourage them, get outside your comfort zone. Go and ask to get involved in research labs and work with faculty and get out into the community and participate, engage, join clubs and organizations, but really take advantage of the opportunities. We kind of have the conversation of, no, it's not high school anymore. Nobody's going to make you do anything. It's up to you now to take advantage of all of these opportunities and participate. And really kind of, you've got a short period of time to get as much as you can in a short number of years to get ready for that next step.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Just being a student myself, you're only here for 4 years. And so it's do all that you can, stay organized. Me and my calendar, man, I would not live without it. It is my saving grace. Yeah. But so we know that you've both worked with students long enough to know the challenges that they often face. I know we kind of just talked about that. But kind of what are some of the biggest mistakes that students tend to make during those first few weeks of the semester, and how could they avoid them so it doesn't even happen?
I'll start on this one. Go to class. Number one, go to class, turn off the alarm, get up, get yourself to class, and don't sit in the back. Just be where you are going to be able to participate and engage as much as possible. Take notes, review your notes after every class. Don't procrastinate on things.
Yes.
If students that are in online classes, you have to be able to manage your time appropriately. So don't wait until the last of the window of the test proctoring time. Try to be as proactive as possible in that process. And seek out and form relationships with people in classes, with your instructors, and be present for that.
Yeah,
100%. Ditto on that. I would also say just don't wait to ask for help. I feel like I've been advising a while, and a big thing is students are like, well, I didn't know. I didn't want to I didn't want it to be a stupid question, or I felt like I was the only one with this problem. Trust me, you are not. you are not. So my to add on to Robin, I would definitely say is just don't wait. If you have a question or a concern, ask. Any question or issue 9 times 10 can always be fixed. Usually, just a little bit easier and faster at the beginning. There's just usually more options at the beginning. So I always tell students, please, you're transitioning, especially your first semester, you're transitioning so much with new roommates, right? You may not be with your mom or dad or your guardian, whoever you lived with, right? Your alarm clock may legit be your alarm clock, not somebody who's like, hey, get up. Your eating schedule, your social schedule, your friends. I mean, so much is going on. So I always encourage students to just please reach out. Don't wait, because a lot of times students see that social media life of like, oh my gosh, it's perfect, and I should be like exactly like everybody else. Like I need, they're doing fine. Why am I not doing fine? I'm like, social media is just sometimes the glamour of it. It's not the real story. So trust me, if you're having issues, 9 times out of 10, so are other people.
Yeah, I think the students that wait to get connected with resources on campus, we really try to talk to our students about sending the message that our most successful students are the ones that are reaching out and going and going to the Miller Writing Center and going through the Office of Academic Support and using the academic coaches and tutors and everything that's available to them. The ones that, you had to be a pretty good student to get into Auburn, right?
Right.
But a lot of students were able to get through high school as an A and B student with never having to learn how to study. Right. And those are the students that I say I have the most concerns about. So they've got to start week 1 making those connections through academic support and having kind of that accountability of staying on track with resources.
Yeah, that's great. I know. I mean, we've, all in Camp Regal, we'll tell our students all the time, like, you have to learn to advocate for yourself. Right. Like you're in college now.
Readers.
It's not mind readers. You got to tell us what you need. Okay, so kind of going off of that, I think like a lot of students think of academic advising as something that they only need during registration. So how can students really maximize their relationship with their academic advisor throughout the year, not just during registration or when they need classes?
Yeah, so we require mandatory advising. And every time I say that, I feel like it sounds harsh, but I promise it is a good thing. We ask that students meet with us at least one time in the fall and one time in the spring for 30 minutes, but we want students to feel free to come meet with us anytime. Anytime that they feel like they have questions, come chat with us, schedule an appointment, whatever it may be, email us, reach out. But essentially, during these appointments, we just want you to be as open and honest as possible about what are your career goals, what are your aspirations, what do you really see yourself doing, what issues are you having, what resources may we need to use that you may just not know. Trust me, there's a resource for everything. But, being honest, I think sometimes we joke about the doctor office effect. Sometimes they come in for advising and they're just like, I'm good, everything's great. And I'm like, is it?
It's not about just coming in to get your classes for the next semester. So
it is not.
You've got to have that ongoing conversation. We tell students, your advisor is your compass. We're here to point you in the right direction. Yeah. But we've got to kind of know what your interests are and what your goals are. We have electives within kinesiology that we could, if we know kind of what your interests are, we might push you toward one elective over another one because it might give you some additional certification options or, the ability to get connected with student employment while they're in school. So having those conversations are really important, and it should be a team approach. That advising student advisor relationship. And then in kinesiology, we have a daily drop-in Zoom for students. So any questions they have outside their regular advising appointments, we want them to join Zoom and talk to us, and we can help them kind of solve those problems quickly.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that just kind of goes back to what y'all were saying earlier is, connections. You have to, you have to advocate for yourself. You have to tell people what you need and get to know people so they can help you. And we also kind of talked about resources. We touched on that. So I know that there are so many resources available on campus, but students don't always know how they can get them or, about them really until they need those resources. So what are some of the resources that you think every College of Education student should know about?
Office of Academic Support, number one.
Okay.
They have academic coaches, they have tutors, they have supplemental instruction, or SI, as students will refer to them. And if your class offers SI, there's a reason for it, and you should participate. And then they have a new accountability groups for students that are focused on certain courses and just kind of need that extra support and helping, stay accountable, and helping others stay accountable in their study. But using those resources, Miller Writing Center, Veterans Resource Center, if it's someone under veterans benefits.
There's just so many. The list goes on. The counseling services, amazing. Right. We have a career strategist that's housed in both of our buildings, and she is a huge asset. So thinking about students who are really unsure about their career pathway, and not understanding what all they can do with their career. Sometimes people think, oh, I'm going to teacher education, like I'm going to be a teacher. And that's wonderful, and we hope that that's what you do. But we also want you to have ownership of like, hey, there's other things you can also do with that degree. Let's say you try teaching for a while, and then you're like, I want to explore something else. Your degree can open up so many doors and any facet, even rehab and disability studies. Maybe you wanted to be an OT and then decided maybe I want to do something else in the health field. So meeting with our career strategist, she can really open those conversations, but also assist with resumes and cover letters and all that kind of stuff as well.
And I think on both sides of the college, we all have programming that we put in place for students. And we're not just coming up with fun things to do. We're planning these events because students need to develop these skills. Yeah. So we're doing workshops to help students write and revise their resume, work on their personal statements, cover letters, interviewing skills. We do mock interviews so students can come through and practice doing interviews. You don't want to have your freeze moment when you're in that interview. So come and have a safe space to practice. And participating in student organizations, that's a resource. You're going to make connections. We have a physical therapy, occupational therapy club. We have representatives from PT and OT schools that students are commonly applying to, coming to those meetings and talking to students about the application process and what it takes to be a competitive applicant. You can't just go into these things blind. So as much information as you can gather through these resources, that's what you need to be doing. Yeah,
that's great. I think, just really bring attention to all these resources and, because they're here to help students. They're here for the students. But it's hard when students, don't know what they are or how to access them. So that's so important. So kind of going off of, being involved in all that, many Auburn students are balancing a lot of things. They're balancing classes, jobs, internships, different student organizations like we talked about, family responsibilities. So what advice would you give students for maintaining the balance while still succeeding academically?
Planning. Using that planner. I always go back to use that planner. Create a balance in your planner and live in that balance. Yeah. It's not just focusing on academics and work and all that. Plan for the fun things. Plan to eat well. Plan to sleep enough. If you're not getting enough sleep, you're not going to be able to be successful while you're here. So planning for everything.
Yeah, I would also say, and I mentioned this earlier, but be honest. Be open and honest with your faculty, your instructors, your advisors. Let them know how you're doing. Sometimes students will kind of like drop little hints about something and I pick up on it and they're just like, oh, I'm so glad because like I was just needing to kind of let that out, but I didn't know how to let that out. Right. And so as honest as possible that I can best help you, but just take care of yourself. I think that's the number one is students, again, they're dealing with so much transition and so many different things and academics. And I'm like, are you focusing on yourself? Like, are you okay? Yes, I'm an advisor. I've been an advisor since 2012. Academics are important, but your health is really most important. If you're not here, then you're not going to be able to academically do well. So let's just step back.
I think those appointments are the ones that I kind of appreciate and enjoy the most. It's the ones where the students are coming in and you can just tell they are at their breaking point. Yes. They don't know what to do next, and you can just kind of talk them through. and open other doors, and it's just, you can see the stress and the tension just kind of leave their shoulders. And, you know, when they can kind of leave your appointment feeling better than they were when they came in, that's a good day.
Yeah, that kind of just goes back to, you know, talking about academic advising in general, and y'all as advisors want students to be successful in every aspect, you know, not just academics, but like as their whole person. So I know that you've worked with hundreds, probably thousands of students throughout your career. Can you each share a memorable student success story that reminds you of why academic advising is such an important part of the college experience?
There's so many.
I'm sure.
It's tricky. I would say probably, yeah. I would say probably my most memorable would be, I had a student who was a first generation, you know, it was basically you don't have anybody else in your family who's come to college in the immediate family. So she was a first gen student and just not really sure what she wanted to do, how she wanted to do it. She, you know, there was a lot of mental health things that she was battling as well. But we just met as much as she wanted anytime, as multiple times, and she ended up graduating with honors. And I just remember, like,
that's great.
That email of, like, I did it. And, it, you know, you just start, like, tearing up because you feel like, oh, you know, but it was very inspiring seeing somebody who had a lot kind of going against her, and she just prevailed and pushed through and used her resources and actually, like, you know, came and chat. Even if we had nothing to chat about, she just came and talked. And I think just that would probably be my most memorable. It was a very, very proud moment.
That's so sweet. Yeah.
I actually just had a former student come back and visit me the other day, and I love reconnecting with them. And this student came from a background where there was struggle for sure, and had one goal in mind, you know, as far as getting the degree and wanting to participate in certain things on campus, but there were so many other outside things that were pulling at this student that it took a little bit of redirection, and it was a struggle, but they got through it, and now this person is speaking internationally and just winning awards, and it's phenomenal to see the path that they've taken.
That's great.
So just I love that reconnection.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, kind of going off of that, y'all have advisors have watched students grow from freshmen into graduates, you know, and they might even come back and visit. So are there certain qualities that you consistently see in those who are most successful?
You have to have a level of grit. Just to be able to kind of take some criticism, or we expect students to fail and make mistakes, but being able to fail forward is a big piece. And we learn, I think sometimes we learn more from our mistakes. So being able to kind of have that dedication and perseverance and being able to kind of work through whatever comes and roll with it.
I would say initiative, self-advocating. Again, you're gonna fail, and that's okay. But it's how did you? What happened next after you failed? Did you get back up? Did you grow from it? Did you learn from it? So I feel like that. No one's perfect. So just as long as you understand you're not perfect, and there's going to be challenges, and
being open to other pathways.
Exactly.
Yeah, you might be able to still get to the same goal, but it might be a little bit different route to get there.
Yeah, that's so important. Okay, so this has been such an informative conversation. Starting a new semester is always filled with excitement, opportunity, and maybe a few nerves. I know I experienced that. But today's discussion is a great reminder that no student has to navigate that journey alone. So before we close, I'd love to ask one final question. So if you could leave every College of Education student with one sentence of encouragement for the semester ahead, what would it be?
I would say, and I feel like we've said this before, but no journey is the same. Do not come in expecting a cookie cutter, exactly like my sister, my brother, or my cousin, or my mom. You know, the biggest thing I always tell students is this is your journey, not mine. I had my journey.
Right.
It was great. I learned things. This is your journey. not your mom's, not your dad's, not your brother's, your sister, aunt, uncles, yours. And so make the most of it, but also take ownership of it and know it's not going to be exactly maybe how you envisioned it, but it may be better. And I think that's sometimes, like you mentioned earlier, they expect this journey and it's like, but there may be a better route that you just haven't realized or envisioned yet. And I think that's a huge part of our job is to show the big picture. We don't talk about just classes. We talk about all the different avenues to get you to your final degree and your final career. So I would just say your journey.
Yeah. I think for me, it's be open to possibilities. Don't give up.
Yeah, that's great. So great. Well, thank you both so much for joining us today and for everything that you do to help our students succeed, not just academically, but personally, professionally. It's great. And we really, really appreciate y'all. Thank you to everyone for listening to Auburn Ed Talks. Be sure to subscribe for more conversations that elevate, empower, and celebrate the world of education. War Eagle!
War Eagle.